Ghosts, goblins, and things that go bump in the night. We've heard about ghosts for ages, but what are they? Today we're going to explore the issue of ghosts and hauntings a little bit more seriously than usual. Christopher Moon is with us tonight. He's the editor of Haunted Times magazine, and we'll be talking about some of the places he's investigated and his machine to contact the dead. You don't know what that is? Neither do I. You can start thinking right now about those you might want to talk to. We're also going to be talking with a psychic who predicts the future. He's going to be going down to the studio audience and picking a volunteer to get a reading. So think about what you want to know in your future. Cirrus Crystal Andasola is with us tonight. Does anyone know what a cirrus is? Neither do I. We'll find out. Also, the UFO issue is on the docket tonight. We're going to be talking about the government cover-up and the conspiracy to hide the truth from the American public. Author and ufologist Paula Harris is with us tonight. She's got some inside information on what's going on. And I think there's a lot going on. That's our lineup for tonight. Please don't go away. We'll be right back. My first guest, thank you. My first guest is an Italian-American journalist and investigative reporter on the UFO issue. She has studied the subject since 1979 and is in personal contact with the top names in the field. Would you please welcome Paula Harris? You're the author, or writer, of Exopolitics, Stargate to a New Reality. Here's the book. What's exopolitics?
Well, my definition of exopolitics is an academic scholarly study of the alien presence on Earth, but mostly the sociological as well as the political implications of this. So because I'm a teacher and because I have a master's in education, my real belief about the whole UFO question is that we need to be educated. In other words, we need real information and the world needs to be educated about this. So exopolitics is kind of a graduate course after ufology. So the people that study lights in the sky do ufology, and the people that are concentrating on exopolitics are saying, okay, it's real, what do we do about it?
Okay, I have this for you, all right, and you might not like it. The alien presence on Earth. I mean, come on. Let's talk in real terms. If there is an alien presence, and I know we have some guests coming later that are not going to want to talk about alien presence, they want to talk about ET, and why are they here? No, if they're here, why are they here? And I think that's what we have to talk about.
Well, first of all, there are people that don't believe they're here.
I know there are people that don't believe they're here.
So if we have all these sightings, and over the years we've had a few crashes, I mean the Roswell one being the real one in 1947 that started all this controversy. I mean, doesn't the average person need to ask who's in there? I mean, who was driving these things, or how did they come here, or where are they from?
So who's visiting?
So, I don't think we're clear. I don't think, from my research...
Who might be visiting?
Well, you have to really go back into antiquity, and I think you have some other guests that'll cover that. But I think that whoever's visiting has been visiting here for a tremendously long time. And from my research, the real visible presence of this phenomenon came about when we exploded the atomic bomb in 1945. So we had several sightings near the Trinity site in New Mexico. So whoever's visiting is not on vacation, Gary. Whoever's visiting
not
is
on vacation,
interested.
but you're saying, and you have said, and I've read the book, and
Yeah.
you know, unlike other TV presenters, there's 57 varieties of ETs. Correct me, am I wrong?
Well, first of all, I never said that.
Okay, someone said there's 57.
Well, a military
Okay,
man,
no,
Clifford Stone, whom you know.
Well, I interviewed him.
Yeah, you interviewed him. Plus, Colonel Philip Corso, who worked at the Pentagon, said there are several races that are categorized in the Pentagon that are visiting Earth. Now, as far as the details of these, that's what's a little sketchy right now. But if this is true, and we know this is true, and I began my career with Dr. J. Allen Hynek, who worked for Blue Book, the Air Force study in this.
Which was closed down at the end of the 60s.
Right, exactly. You know a lot. The thing is,
I did my homework before you came.
You do great homework.
Yes.
Then
That's why you're here.
Then what we're talking about is this, that we know this is real. Something is behind the craft. So, you know, that's where our information comes from. You know, what is going on? It's a big question, but it needs to be studied without people laughing. I don't know what's so funny about it.
So we have, what is anybody about it? We have Roswell, we have this, Area 51, Roswell, it's a cover-up, there was a weather balloon, there was all these different things. You know, having read your book, and I'm going to come out and be honest about it. I mean, you say in almost every other page, it's time to tell the truth. What's the truth?
Well, the time that we're not alone. It's that simple. The truth is that when pilots are telling us, and I've interviewed pilots, when astronauts are telling us, when military people are telling us it's real. Yes, he's very good. He's a very close. Right, he's a very close friend of mine. He's the 6th man to walk on the moon. He testified at the Washington Press Club that Roswell was a real case and for the United States government to open up the files. Now, when we got these credible people who are risking their careers, who are very courageous, like Clifford Stone that you interviewed, I think that somewhere along the line somebody should be taking this seriously.
I think people take it seriously. I think the whole problem is that we're looking at this thing from a point of view of if they're here, and I think they may very well be here. We have daylight photographs. We've had people coming out and saying that these particular photographs that are being studied can't be faked. So we have good daylight photo footage. So then this doesn't anymore trickle down, and hear me out, this doesn't anymore trickle down to is it real and are they here? It trickles down to why are they here?
That's a good question. Yeah, absolutely. I have the same question. I have the same question.
I don't want you to ask the question. I want you to answer.
I want an alien to be sitting where you are so I can ask why they're here.
But I want someone to say, yes, it's happening. Yes, I understand it. And also, there's a reason for it. Let's talk for a minute about why they're here. Okay? You gave me some idea why you think they may be here. I'm going to give you my idea why I think they're here. First of all, let's talk about the day the Earth stood still, which was fiction. Let's go back to Orson Welles and the War of the Worlds, which was completely fictional. So we're going back to the 30s and 40s at best. If ETs wanted to destroy us, they would have done it by now.
I agree.
They would have come in and done away with planet Earth. So the whole fear factor scenario doesn't work. We can't go back and say the government won't disclose because people would panic. What's there to panic about? There's nothing to panic about. We've had them around for maybe hundreds, we don't know, maybe thousands of years, and nothing's happened yet. Are they observing us? Maybe. You just said a minute ago about nuclear shutdown. Let's talk a moment about why they might be here. Okay. I'm going to give you my opinion, and then you give me your opinion, okay? We've been interacting with something for at least 64 years. And I don't know how you feel about this, but my take on all this is that whoever the visitors are views us as a primitive race. Our brand of friendship is hostility. We've extended it out into the universe. We've killed 50 million of our own kind in 2 world wars, and the killing goes on. We're still voting people into office who want more killing. You're a visitor. You come here from another planet or whatever. Do you want to know us?
No, but I'd like to know if you can make it or break it. I mean, the thing is...
Can we make it?
I don't know, but I'm looking at the alien question as cultural anthropologists. Maybe what they're looking at is humanity as a race that needs to either evolve or destroy itself, which is really sad. I hate to look at it that way, but is that a possibility?
It could be. I don't know. Are they watching us?
Well, I'm sure they're not here on vacation because they found a planet they like. I think that they're watching our nuclear capacity. I think that in some way we are members of a cosmic neighborhood, and you can talk later about that. And
Intergalactic neighborhood.
yeah, intergalactic neighborhood, maybe.
Food for thought. We're going to be back. We have to take a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about haunted cases, haunted places, and what happens when people investigate ghosts. Don't go away. We'll be back. Eric and Tamila Wright have been investigating haunted history for longer than anyone can remember. They go out and they find a haunted place, they investigate it, and they portray it like a painting. Please welcome Eric and Tamila Wright. This is not the typical ghost investigation. The typical ghost investigation is going in with perhaps a medium, and you look at the case and you say, maybe there's something here, but you portray, you go back and you research and you look back and you say, oh, wow, and then you portray. Talk about that.
What we do is a lot different than what a lot of groups do. We're very deep historically based. We'll go into an area with claims from people that either live there or work there, record that kind of information, come back, bring the team in, investigate it, use our different cameras, recording devices, things of that nature, get what evidence we can, then go through that with a fine-tooth comb. And then whatever we do find, we try to go back through county records, state records, sometimes city records, sometimes private collections, and see if we can find anything that will correlate and corroborate information that we found on those investigations. And 99% of the time, that's what happens with us. And by doing that, then we can take that information and we do reportorials in the shows that we are working on.
What's your most interesting case out of them all? Come on.
Out of 27 years of doing this, there's too many. But Tamila can tell you the ones that we've
What's
been
your
working
most
on
interesting
recently.
case where somebody came forward and I have a theory that some people linger on? Am I wrong? Or?
We've been doing this for a really long time, as you were saying. But there is a little girl that we ran into up at a big, huge hunting lodge called the Elkhorn Lodge. And we kept running into this little girl on the back staircase. And we finally got her age, about 9 years old. And now you have to understand, this is a lot of investigations to try to get a lot of this information. It's not like they just walked up to us and, well, almost walked up to us and just started giving us her story. And through the investigations, we found out that her and her brother were playing with a gun, and that they had found just propped up against the tree. Now, this was about 1874. And all of a sudden, of course, the trigger went off and it hit her in the face. Now, the first thing when we started going to that staircase, I felt this huge pressure on my face that I knew wasn't normal. And so that's where I instantly started asking her, you know, were you injured? Did you fall? No. We found out it was a gun. She even gave us enough detail that she was actually took about 20 minutes to die. I mean, it was a really sad case. I said, Maddie, you know, what are you doing? Why don't you go on? Her response was, I'm just happy. I'm just having a good old time.
So, okay, I'm going to confess I've seen the DVD, so we can progress on from there. She's a little girl, she's playing outdoors, she's playing under a tree, and you've done a wonderful job, by the way, of recreations. Does she know she's dead? Or
Absolutely.
are we talking about somebody, no, hear me out. Does she know she's dead? Are we talking about somebody who's perhaps still thinks she's stuck in 1874? This is possible.
I purposely asked her, do you know
How did
for
you do
us?
that?
I asked her.
Well, how did you get an
you
answer? Come on, everybody wants to know.
Do you know that it at that time was 2010? I got back this response that was like, well, of course I do. She knew that we were in a different time and that she was still back in 1874. Now, what was really interesting too, every time I asked her, were you staying at the Elkhorn Lodge? Were you working at the Elkhorn Lodge? She would not actually respond to Elkhorn Lodge. And I went, oh, that's right. It wasn't built until later that year. So she didn't know that name, but she knew everything else about us. But so that was really, that gives me a lot of clue that they're very aware of us.
What's going on with these people who come back and they won't go away? Why?
Well, they don't want to.
They don't want to go away.
And
You're dead
case
and
example,
you want to stay.
Case example, the Elkhorn Lodge.
Oh, yeah.
They're there because they want to be there. They've told us they want to be there through recordings, through EVPs, using everywhere from the $30 cheap recorders to our $1,000 recorders. I mean, we get a broad spectrum to make sure of it. They've actually told us they're there for a reason, because they're there to protect and maintain that property the way it was 137 years ago. They're having fun, they like where they're at, and they don't care to leave. They know they can, but they've actually told us they don't want to. They want to stay where they are. They've made a choice to stay where they are because they wish to.
You think they know there's another side?
They do know it's another
They do.
side, and they have told us.
Okay,
that
so they're happy with
We can
that.
go on, but we choose not to. We want to be where we are.
So, from all your research in all the cases that you've studied, have you found anyone who says, I'm here for a reason, I have to fulfill a mission, and then I'm ready to go on?
In this video clip, there is one of the people that used to work for the lady who owned and built the Elkhorn Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
What's interesting about this is because there was actually 3 individuals that worked for her. Some people call them the henchmen, because they're the ones that are there for a specific purpose to make sure that nothing gets unruly or out of hand in there. And the other one is the maintenance man that used to be there, John. He will actually come around and give people clues, the current managers, about something that's going on with the property to let them know before a pipe breaks or something is about to be ruined, something needs to be replaced. They'll get clues about this, and it's unfathomable clues. And they're talking to us. It's just, you've got to open up your head and you've got to listen. They're there. And he's there just for that.
Don't you think that's kind of being stuck in a way?
No, because they've told us they wish to be there. They're not
They're
stuck.
happy.
They're happy what they're doing. They like the property. And in that property, we've documented 16 entities on that property. Over 2 years and 37 investigations. It's not just one of these fly-by-night we were in and out in one night. 2 years with the trips, the whole entire team, multiple cameras and gear, 37, 38 investigations later. And this is what we've come up with and been able to document. And having living relatives that are still there that can verify who is at that property still.
So they're there. They know they're there. And the people who see them know they're there, living witnesses.
It's an everyday,
It's everyday
interactive situation.
Does this, now come on now, does this contribute in any way to survival evidence, life after death?
Why not? Who says that you just, when you die, you're done? Why?
We have a clip. We're going to show it now. Take a look at this clip and make up your own minds. Let's look. What is that? Somebody went across the hall.
Yes,
And
something.
what was something, someone, something?
What's interesting about this, Gary, is the fact is this is on the south wing of the 2nd floor of the Elkhorn Lodge. There's only one entranceway up there, and it's bolted shut from the inside of the building.
Looks a little bit like Bigfoot.
11:30 at night. We call them the
No,
Hunchback.
doesn't it? Come
Yeah,
on.
absolutely.
No,
Strange.
no, come on.
Absolutely.
Come
We've
on.
actually run it through some very interesting people, some medical people, and they did some measurements. Said it's somebody about 6'2" to 6'6". The door is bolted shut from the inside. The entire team and the owners of the property were all accounted for downstairs, and this occurred about 11:38 at night, with a camera, with lights on. That same entity had been seen downstairs, or whatever it is, walking around through the dining hall, and it's seen all the time up there. We believe it's one of the original henchmen staying there at the property, and he's seen continuously. He doesn't hurt anybody, he doesn't bother anybody, but he has been seen.
So you're doing, we only have a minute, but I want to wrap this. You're doing a very good recreation, very articulate, in costume, I don't like that word, for that era. So you're going to be able to bring people back to that time and show them in very beautiful color just exactly what you see is happening. And you're presenting that in a DVD in a very nice form. Talk about that a little bit. Talk about this whole portrayal of a series of DVDs you're doing? Because I watched one of them. It was pretty interesting.
Well, we want to take,
Talk about
of course, the recreations, like you were just
Right.
talking about. So we ask the witnesses what they experienced, and then that's what we recreate with all period costume, even down to if we have a photograph, we recreate that photograph, which is
Yeah.
gets kind of interesting. But because we want to interpret not only what's going on with the ghost, but we want to show you what the history is of that building. People are more likely to have more pride in a property when they realize the history is there. Also, these properties that have not been changed very much is where we get our best evidence. And then the properties that have been remodeled, not so much. And it's still something else we are starting to document also.
That's why we came up with the series name for this is called Walking History.
You're walking through it.
We're walking through.
I'd
it
like
just
to
as though they
spend the
still are.
night there.
They're still walking into our history.
Eric,
Why can't we walk
well,
into
thank
theirs?
you so
Thank
much
you.
for being with us. We'll be back in a minute, and I'm going to tell you exactly what we're going to get. We have a man who's going to talk about his investigations, and he talks to the dead. Don't go away. My next guest is someone who has spent a lifetime investigating the paranormal. He is the editor and publisher of Haunted Times magazine. Please welcome Christopher Moon. I see you have brought your box with you.
I did.
What? Yes, we see this. What's in the box?
It's actually the completed version of Thomas Edison's Telephone to the Dead.
I see. Okay. Moving right along, how does this work? I mean, are we talking about an electronic phone, or what are we talking about here?
It is. It's a piece of electronics that basically will facilitate two-way communication with the other side.
Can you play it for us? I guess not.
It doesn't quite work that way.
It doesn't work that way. Now, no, but on a more serious note, if this is something that really works, and we're portraying this as something that could be real, do you have to have, let me word this right, do you have to have psychic ability to make this work?
You do.
Do you have that?
I do.
You do.
Absolutely. You have
How?
Well, yeah. You'd have to ask the universe that one how I got it. But when it comes down to it, you do have to have the ability not just to get the messages, but to also power the device.
So talk a little bit about the device itself, how you make it work, and who comes through.
Okay. The device was actually built by a man named Frank Sumption, and he received the instructions on how to build it through shortwave radio transmissions that were coming through, EVP, electronic voice phenomena, and he completed the design to their specifications. So essentially, when we turn on the device and we ask the other side to bring through these voices, we actually are able to communicate with loved ones on the other side, friends, and they do come through in their own voice.
Really? So if you were to turn it on right now, you could bring through Edison himself, or?
Actually, as crazy as it sounds, we actually do quite a few sessions with Edison. He's the one
Really?
in charge of the project.
Is he
Absolutely.
happy about this?
He seems to be happy so far. I
I mean,
still
the
have a
price
job.
of
so-
electricity is going way up.
Exactly, and it is.
We're in
It's an
trouble.
expensive long-distance phone call. So
Yeah, I'm concerned about that too. My question about all this is, having done a little research in this field, many people have done this before. We've had George Meek, do you know him?
Spiritcom.
We've had the Spiricom device, and we've had now audio and visual. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's somebody in Germany that's doing this, and you can see it on television?
There are some people in Germany. There's people everywhere who are doing ITC investigations.
So what's stopping science from making a serious exploration of this?
Well, I think it was predetermined quite a while ago that this couldn't possibly be something that was real, and I think that that's really carried over to today. But there are several people who are starting to take a look at it now. Quantum physics is really opening a lot of eyes, and we've been doing quite a bit of work with quantum physicists.
See, I don't understand this. Why should it be so difficult to acknowledge that this could be possible? People have been dead for a long time. And the longer they're dead, the harder it might be to find a way to get through, or maybe the easier it might be to find a way to get through. And the longer you're dead, I would think the longer they've had to work on finding a way to make this.
You would think so. And, you know, speaking to scientists, they'll tell you unless they can take a spirit into a laboratory and essentially examine it and dissect it, it's not real. It can't possibly be something that's tangible.
I think this goes back to the previous century with the Melton telephone, and there was a guy from GE who went into something, and then George Meek went into something. And I think the thing with Spiricom, and people might not know, so I'll explain a little bit. George Meek was a guy who invented a device to make this work, and it was very, very, very garbled. How is your apparatus different?
Well, it's very different. The way that Spiricom worked essentially sounded like someone who had a tracheotomy.
It did.
As it came through, and it sounded very synthesized as it happened. The difference between that and this device is not perfect by any means.
No.
There's a lot of cracking and popping, there's a lot of fragment that's involved with it, but the difference in this is that you are actually able to hear and record the voices of people that you know who have passed.
Mm. Can you choose, or?
You can, absolutely.
Is it something that just happens?
Well, I'll tell you an interesting story very quickly. I actually
Tell me.
I ran into a person. We have spirit guides and what I like to call spirit technicians who work specifically on this project with Edison. And one of the spirits that eventually came through to me came through and announced himself as Tyler Nicholas Trujillo. And when he came through to me, I had no idea who this person was, but he guides me through, he keeps me out of trouble, connects us with the people.
I think you're in trouble now.
I know, there you go. But he does connect us with people on the other side. We bring through those personalities almost like DNA. And he actually led me to his living parents in Estes Park, Colorado. And I didn't even realize that this was a living human being. I just thought it was someone on the other side connecting with me. So it's really been an amazing
So they can
experience.
come through spontaneously or not spontaneously, but it doesn't matter, it works. Open the box, let's take a look. Let's show everybody
Absolutely.
what it, turn it around. That's good, okay. What it looks like. So, all right, we have some dials and we have some, so what is all that?
Essentially, this is just fine tuning. We have the power switches, we have the antenna, we have all the different things that go along with it. And if you look at the schematics of the device, there's really nothing that's impressive in it where you would say, well, that's what does it. But the person who builds the device actually tunes the boards that go in. And as he tunes the boards, that's how you can actually hear the communication start. So it really has to do more with him than anything else.
So, okay, so this is an electronic energy that they project in some way, or they're making this happen in an electronic way?
Absolutely. They use their energy to affect the energy. So basically what they're doing is going through and picking out fragment to create their own voice. They push through on a random voltage generator into what would be considered a diaphragm, an echo chamber inside the device. And somewhere within that, they actually are able to push through their own voice, their own tone comes through.
Now, I know this is a loaded question, and I'm going to ask it anyway. Can we make one of these and market it?
Well, that's something that I had in mind in the very beginning. The person, Frank Sumption, who built the device, and I were working on the project, and I was assuming that anyone could use these.
Is Frank still alive?
Oh, he is, absolutely.
You think he's watching?
He may be. He's done quite a bit with me. But we were originally going to use this to send out with paranormal investigators to use on their own and communicate with spirits and solve all these different murders and mysteries that were out there. But what we realized very quickly was that it takes a medium to use the device.
And you are one.
I am.
So this started about 12 or 13 or something like that in your life.
Oh, for me, I actually realized I had an ability.
And how to talk about that?
Yeah,
Talk about that.
Age 7, I actually moved into a new home with my family. And the first night that we moved in, I awoke to a three-dimensional shadow of a little boy standing at the end of my bed. And of course, I had a Roman Catholic father, skeptic, who didn't believe any of it. And I told
Gee, what a shame.
Exactly. And I told him at that point that I had a ghost in my room, and he said the only ghost was the Holy Ghost, so I knew I was in trouble. So it took a very long time for him to actually start accepting these things. But I realized very quickly that I did have this ability to communicate.
And you're still doing it?
Still to this day.
You talk about murders. Let's go there. You went to?
Lizzie Borden.
Okay.
Actually went to the Lizzie Borden house.
And that's in?
Fall River, Massachusetts. Oldest unsolved axe murder in American history, and went out there and didn't know a whole lot about
1870 something?
I want to say it was 1890.
90 something?
Yeah, right
Okay.
in that range. But we went out there, and I didn't have a whole lot of expectations, but found out some very interesting things about the murder, including the fact that Lizzie Borden never swung the axe.
Really?
Which really...
Now, who told you this?
These were actually the spirits that were involved in the actual murder during that time frame. We actually found out the plot, we found out what had taken place, and heard specifically from them what had happened. And it was really intriguing to me to find out that Mr. Borden, the father who was murdered there, was not a nice man. He was probably one of the most despicable human beings alive.
Well, who swung the axe?
Well,
I mean, Lizzie Borden took an axe.
yeah, well,
and gave her mother 40 wax.
And it wasn't 40
And when
wax,
she
by the
saw,
way.
no.
Yeah, it wasn't 40 wax. But
Oh, I
yeah.
think it was 42.
You think so? No.
No, I don't know. You're the
much
medium.
less, much less. But yeah, the story in itself is amazing. We've been bothered about it, and we're finally going to write a book on the subject.
So are some of these people seriously good and some seriously dangerous? And if so, who are they?
You are there who you were here. That's the...
Do you have anybody
that's the
that's
word.
seriously dangerous?
Andrew Borden. I was actually, the first night that I stayed in the Lizzie Borden house, I woke up choking.
People talk about bad energy. They talk about, oh my God, there's bad energy in my house. They talk about demons. You have, I think we have a photograph.
We do.
What is it? Talk about that.
I brought a photograph. We run a tour in Colorado in the Capitol Hill neighborhood of Denver. And there's a mansion out there called the Peabody Mansion. Has a long haunted history. We've investigated there many, many times. But we were running one of our tours one of these nights, and one of the participants was there and said she felt something funny over her shoulder. Snapped a picture and didn't see a whole lot in the picture, but later on actually sent us the photo and showed us that quite clearly you can see in the picture there's a demonic face on the left pillar.
Really?
Absolutely.
You have a shot?
I do.
Let's take a look.
Okay.
So let's go back to this. Here's a face. We just saw it. It looks spooky. It looks to be like a cat. What does this thing want to do? What is the purpose of this thing coming? What's the in a capsule? Why is it here?
Well, when we talk about demonic energy, a lot of people put a religious context with it right away, which is, in my opinion, the wrong thing to do. Demonic energy can never survive on our plane without a host. It lives in a completely different dimensional field, and we have to welcome it in. We actually have to bring that energy into the location or into the body to make it effective at that point.
Are they here to harm us?
Essentially, they live on our fear, they live on anger, they live in any high emotion that we have.
But they're here.
They are here, absolutely.
They're here to stay.
Yes, they are here to stay.
Thank you. We have to take a break. When we come back, you might be surprised that the person we're going to be talking to is a seeress, and she has a lot to say about where we are going. So don't go away. We're back. Crystal Andasola is a seeress. I don't know what it is, and neither do you. We're going to find out. Please welcome Crystal Andasola. Okay, spill it. What's a seeress?
Okay, a seeress, Nostradamus was a seer, and so I'm a seeress. I channel prophecies, very important events that happen on the earth. Predictions, if you will, but mainly pertaining to our evolution here on this planet, which is very important.
Which doesn't seem to be going anywhere from what I can see.
Well,
We'll talk about that, because we're talking now in 2011 about 2012.
Yes.
We're talking about the Mayan calendar running out.
Yep.
And we're talking about 21 December 2012. Everybody, 21 December 2012. You're a seeress. What does it all mean?
It's, in layman's terms, if you will, it's graduation time. Graduation time is upon us. Our caps and gowns are being prepared as we speak. The 2012 Earth Ascension is to the Mayans. It's not just the Mayans, it's the Hopi, the Lakota, the Aztec, and the Cherokee. It's about the Earth miracle. This is an opportunity for all of us to ascend. Ascension means going beyond the life-death cycle, bringing in the luminous worlds, multi-dimensional travel, and heaven on earth. and the new Earth.
Heaven on earth.
And the new
Okay,
Earth.
oh, stop there. With all due respect, and I'm going to be, very respectful. I mean, don't we have to wake up before we can ascend?
Exactly, and that's it's and I'm so grateful.
I don't think we're making, and I say we. I'm picking a little bit on our own country. I mean, how are we waking up?
Well,
look what we've been doing.
In actuality,
look what we've been doing since Bush. I mean,
and you're right.
It's not getting any better.
And progression is being made, and I'll tell you why the progression is actually being made more so now than ever is because people are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and that's kind of the energetic space that people need to be in order to embrace the change. Change is natural. Everything in this universe is secular. It works on cycles. There's universal order. Everything is in order. The only energy in the entire universe that's still running amok, if you will, is mankind, humanity. And you'll either get it or you won't. It's a free will dimension. Spirit, the ascended masters, the angels can't infringe on you. It's against universal law.
So what do they say we have to do?
Wake up, and
how do we do
we're
that?
going. Right now we live in a grid. The grid that's out there, and the everyday hurry, worry, scurry. Life is about fear. That it's intentional. The powers that think they be, if you will, have intentionally created a fear-based grid that is operated on duality, separation, and fear, and it works for them. Fear makes billionaires richer. It keeps everybody house trained.
It's all
it keeps
about
everybody
money, power,
broken.
and greed. I mean, if
it
you
is
look
about
at it
power.
from a realistic point of view, and even set a little bit the psychic stuff aside, what I see going on now is money, power, and greed. It isn't going to change until people wake up. Think outside the box. Nobody wants
That's
to change.
right.
How are we going to change?
Well, we need to change, and it's up
do.
to each individual to make that change. And what we're not taught in this society is that energy bounces off of energy. This entire planet, everything in the cosmos, the universe, is all about energy and mastering that energy. And what people forget is that one person can change the collective consciousness. It happens all the time in our fashion statements, music, slang words, whatever. It happens. So it's the pebble in the water, if you will, and it ripples out. The issue is that most people look at, I'm just one little person in a sea of 7 billion people. What could I possibly do to change the world? Well, they're not asking you to change the world. They're asking you to change your perception on your own self. Master yourself. Self-discipline leads to self-mastery, leads to ascension. And the bottom line is my message to the world is that this ascension is going to happen whether you believe it, whether you don't, whether you're ready, whether you're not. So it's an opportunity.
See, I think even celebrities are trying. I think Shirley MacLaine has tried in her own way to get the message out there. I think she's been trying for about 25, 30 years. Recently, and you might not know this, Dan Aykroyd has come out about the UFO conspiracy.
Absolutely.
He's talked about the cover-up. He's talked about the need for disclosure.
Exactly.
His series was canceled on the Sci-Fi Channel. We can come out and say that because he knew too much.
That's right.
What does it take
you know what?
to
We
wake
the people
up?
We the people need to take our power back. People. Regardless, I mean, this is America, for crying out loud. The issue with our country is that people have become complacent. They're comfortable, they're complacent, they're lazy. They're asleep. They want to be told, what to do, where to go, and how to get there. Well, some of us, I don't want to live in that paradigm. We are actually in the new paradigm. Okay, the new paradigm began on January 1st, 2011. All right, this Earth, when the Earth makes her final approach into ascension, she will go through the holographic field. It'll be done through a hologram. She'll split, if you will, going through the quantum field, and the grid that's on the new Earth is a crystalline grid. And that is gridded for unity, community, and cooperation. So if people can just simply start with the basics of unity, community, and cooperation within themselves and taking care of this planet, the earth can't handle the abuses and the misuse of power. This is, our ecosystem gets compromised every day. Well, what are people doing about it? Do something about it. There's people out there that, everybody has their own little niche and their own little forte and their own little gift in life. Well,
We're
utilize
wrecking
it.
it, but people aren't. We're wrecking it. People aren't listening.
But people should care.
As a seeress, what are your prophecies, predictions? What you're in touch with some higher beings?
Yes.
Who are they?
Yes. Well, I work with the Ascended Masters.
Okay.
I work with Master El Morie, who governs the Ray of Indigo. He is the representative of the Ray of Indigo. He's, if you will, the right-hand man. His job is to make sure that Creator's will gets carried out.
Do they have any prophecies for us?
Yeah, everything about ascension, meaning it's going to happen whether you believe it or not. Prepare yourselves, not in a doom and gloom way. I don't go into the what Hollywood puts out there, the Armageddon, all that. This is an opportunity. It's graduation time. It's an opportunity to be with the earth, to raise your vibration, to take your physical body with you if you want. Many people will be crossing over in 2011 and transitioned to the new earth. This is natural. See, we as mankind have to understand that everything that's happening is natural. Change is good.
So quickly, before we run out of time, do we have a future? In 30 seconds, what can we do to make it better? And we have to make it better because if we don't, the way we're going down the tubes. And I don't think we need to be psychics to know.
Well, everybody wants, is what's going on out here.
Talking about.
Inside, people need to work on themselves. Work on your issues. We all have a higher self. You have your conscious, your subconscious, and your superconscious. Tap in to your superconscious. People need to listen to their instincts. Work more with cooperation, unity, helping people, being one with all that is of oneness. It's critical on this planet. This is an opportunity, and the next shift won't happen, for another 26,000 years. And my issue is that everything that we have been taught by this society is distorted, fraudulent information. And I'm here to anchor truth on this planet.
So
I'm
we
a
have
truth
a
seeker,
future,
and I'm a truth speaker.
We can make it good, and we have to try and we're all in this together.
Absolutely. Heal thyself.
Thank you. We have a future, and this is kind of interesting because when we have a message, when we come back, what is the future for some of you right here in the audience today? What's going to be predicted? We have to go away. We'll be right back. Don't go away. We're back. Predicting the future, something that people have been talking about for centuries. We have somebody with us tonight who says she can do that. Please welcome Alida Sarah Ross. You're a psychic.
Yes.
How do you do it?
It's just kind of there. It's something that's always been there with me, so I wouldn't know how not to do it. It's a natural thing.
Okay, so some people, and I've been around this field for years, some people read the tarot cards, and some people read the crystals, and some people read the tea leaves. How do you do it?
I use numerology, I do tarot, I run on birthdays also. Somebody can give me their birthday, it helps me tune in just like a radio station, and I can read them from there. So those are my tools. So
when you do this, and I think people need to know this, if you're doing a reading on somebody privately, is this sort of mapped out, or is this something that you're picking up all these multiple possibilities?
Yeah, it's...
What's happened? Talk about that.
Where that person is. When I read a person, what's going on in their lives right now is what I can read and where it's going to go with the choices that they've made right now. They have a right to make me wrong at any time by changing their minds. And sometimes I really wish people would.
So they could get another reading the next day and it's all different? Not
necessarily the next day, but say a couple weeks later, if they've made some different decisions. Say it's like, okay, you don't need to do this, you're going to lose a whole bunch of money doing this, put it in this. That can change the whole dynamics of their life.
And what if they don't change anything? Does it happen?
Then they're going to go ahead and go
It's
right
gonna
where
happen.
they're going. Mm-hmm.
So you see, you read me, I'm
I
getting
see
married
possibilities.
in 5 years, and if I don't change anything, I'm getting married in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Do we do? Now this is a serious question. I know that you think I'm maybe making these up, but do we set this up before we are born in some way?
We set up things to do and things to learn, and then we have the free will and choices here of what we really want to pay attention to. Because we all come in here to learn stuff, but sometimes we get in here and we don't want to do any of it.
So we have people in the studio audience, they want to know their future, want to take a stab at it?
Sure.
Go to it.
Thank you. Sir.
Hi,
Hi. Your name?
my name is Bill Womack.
Okay, Bill, nice to meet you. We've never met, have we?
No, ma'am, we have not.
No. And so what's your question?
I would like to know if you believe it's possible that a spirit could follow a person from one place to another.
Yes, yes, I do feel like it's very possible. Give me your birthday.
My birthday is 3/13/1962.
Okay. Actually, I'm really feeling like the person that is attached to you also is a relative.
Okay, I see.
Okay. And they just want to be close to you. They're kind of watching over you,
Oh, I can see that.
but they mess with stuff around you, don't
Oh,
they?
if sometimes,
Yeah. Just letting you know they're there.
Oh, okay, really?
So, yep, that's what that's about.
Well,
But you can tell them that you've kind of had enough and that they can go now. They don't need to mess with you. They want to come in and visit, say hi.
oh, there's no problem with that.
You're good.
Okay, thank you. That was
very
very
welcome.
interesting.
Thank you.
People concerned about the future, and I guess they got their answers. I don't know. Let's hope it all happens quickly for them. Thank you very much, Alita. It's comforting to know that somebody's out there that cares. That's our show for tonight. We hope you find it interesting. And one thought I want to leave you with, and that is, you never know what's around the corner. Take care. Until we see you next time, keep looking straight ahead.